1st. Liquor. Source: Wikipedia. Wine, also known as alcoholic drink, English, alcoholic drink, is a drink with an ethanol content higher than 0.5%. Wine is one of the processed drinks with the longest history of human consumption and is made from plant fermentation. Alcoholic beverages have historically been used by humans in social and food culture, or to preserve food ingredients and cooking. Drinking alcohol will inhibit the central nervous system. Drinking large amounts will cause euphoria, relaxation, and unsteady gait. That is, the phenomenon of excessive ethanol commonly known as drunkenness, which will later turn into harmful acetaldehyde in the liver. Therefore, the WHO is classified as a class of carcinogen. In East Asians, due to the lack of acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, aldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH2, the typical poisoning symptom is redness of the skin, so the risk of disease will be higher. However, alcohol has been widely used as a dispensing product in culture, and because of its recreational use and high addictive effects, it is regarded as a legal drug. The many social problems caused by it are very widespread, so most all countries control the sale of alcohol, otherwise you will be punished, or some local legislation strictly controls its use, such as limiting drinking hours. Thailand, Canada, etc. Some European and American countries cannot even drink or display it in public places, and some Muslim countries that prohibit alcohol have already banned alcohol. According to legend, primates have the habit of storing fruits, and sometimes monkey wine is accidentally brewed due to natural fermentation. However, this kind of wild wine is purely accidental. Only when primates evolved into humans did they know how to make wine in a planned way. The earliest history of wine in archaeology can be traced back to the Neolithic Mesopotamia before 10,000 BC. In the Neolithic age about 9,000 years ago, grains and fruits were used to make wine. In ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia at the same time, fruits and barley were also used to brew fruit wine and beer. As a standard part of the diet, wine is also used for medical purposes, relaxation and pleasure, entertainment, aphrodisiac and other social purposes. It has been widely consumed by people around the world since prehistory. Su Shen of the Eastern Han Dynasty said in Chuoenjizi, "Liquor is the source of wine." Therefore, the good and evil of human nature are derived from water and unitary eyes are used as units. Unitary refers to sound, which is called create. Alcohol comes from prehistoric times. It has been widely documented as a standard dietary and medical remedy, and also used for recreational purposes, such as an aphrodisiac, for its relaxant and euphoric effects. Wine also has religious and mysterious uses. For example, in the ecstatic Bacchus worship ceremony, also known as Bacchus or Dionysus, in Greek and Roman religions, drinking alcohol can be used to revel with God. It is also used in Christian communion and Jewish Passover. Use wine. Ancient wine had a high sweetness and low alcohol concentration, and could be stored for a long time. It was more of a low-alcohol drink than wine. Its taste was very different from modern wine, which is why it was so popular. Second, long-term effects of drinking alcohol. Source: ChatGPT. Long-term alcohol consumption may have a variety of health effects, including but not limited to liver problems. Alcohol is toxic to the liver, and long-term drinking may lead to problems such as fatty liver, hepatitis, and even cirrhosis. Cardiovascular problems. Excessive alcohol consumption may lead to cardiovascular diseases such as high blood pressure, arrhythmia, and heart disease. Mental health problems. Long-term alcohol consumption may worsen mental health problems such as anxiety and depression, and even lead to cognitive decline. Increased risk of cancer. Drinking alcohol has been linked to an increased risk of cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, and breast cancer. Malnutrition. Alcohol contains calories but has little nutritional value, and long-term drinking may lead to malnutrition. Impact on social and professional life. Chronic drinking can lead to breakdowns in relationships with family, friends, and colleagues, affecting work performance and career. These effects vary depending on individual drinking habits, alcohol intake, and individual physiological conditions. It is important to drink alcohol in moderation. The limit for healthy living is no more than 14 standard alcohol units, 140 ml of pure alcohol, once a week. Source: Wikipedia. Drinking large amounts of ethanol, alcohol abuse, can have serious harmful consequences. Health effects associated with heavy drinking. Long-term effects of alcohol include the development of alcoholism, malnutrition, chronic pancreatitis, alcoholic liver disease, ALD, and cancer. Increased risk. See Drinking and Health. In addition, long-term alcohol abuse can damage the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Even light and moderate alcohol consumption can increase the risk of certain types of cancer. Long-term drinking can damage nearly every organ and system in the human body. The developing adolescent brain is particularly vulnerable to the toxic effects of alcohol. In addition, the developing fetal brain is also very fragile. If pregnant women drink alcohol, it may lead to fetal alcohol syndrome, FASD. In Western culture, people discovered an inverse relationship between alcohol consumption and cardiovascular disease more than 100 years ago. Many doctors discourage drinking alcohol. However, given the many health problems associated with alcohol, it has been suggested that alcohol should be treated as a recreational drug and that exercise and good nutrition should be promoted to prevent cardiovascular disease. In 2013, alcoholic liver disease accounted for 4/5 of all chronic diseases in Ireland. Alcohol-related negative effects include an increased risk of liver disease, pharyngeal cancer, esophageal cancer, and pancreatitis. On the contrary, moderate drinking may have some benefits against gastritis and gallstones. Long-term inappropriate drinking and abuse of alcohol can seriously affect physical and mental health. Long-term excessive alcohol consumption, or alcohol dependence, can lead to a wide range of neuropsychiatric or neurological diseases, cardiovascular disease, liver disease, and malignant tumors. Psychiatric disorders related to alcoholism include major depression, persistent depressive disorder, depersonalization, bipolar disorder, mild bipolar disorder, panic disorder, phobias, generalized anxiety disorder, personality disorders, schizophrenia, suicide, neurological disorders deficits, e.g., working memory, mood, regulatory functions, visuospatial abilities, gait and balance, and brain injury. Alcohol dependence is associated with hypertension, coronary artery disease and ischemic stroke, respiratory and digestive system cancers, liver, breast, and ovarian cancer. Heavy drinking has been linked to liver disease, such as cirrhosis. Excessive drinking has the negative effect of accelerating aging. See effects of alcohol on aging. Some countries have introduced warnings on alcohol packaging to inform consumers about alcohol and cancer, as well as the risk of fetal alcohol syndrome when pregnant women drink alcohol. Third, ethanol. Source: ChatGPT. Ethanol is an organic compound, which is what we usually call alcohol. It is a transparent, colorless, volatile liquid with a unique smell and taste. Ethanol is used for a variety of purposes, including drinking, industrial production, and pharmaceutical preparation. When drinking alcohol, ethanol is the most common ingredient. It is produced by yeast breaking down sugar during fermentation. During drinking, ethanol is absorbed into the bloodstream, metabolized by the liver, and ultimately excreted from the body. Ethanol has a depressant effect on the central nervous system, which is why alcohol causes relaxation and loss of inhibition. But at the same time, excessive drinking can lead to a range of health problems, including liver disease, cardiovascular problems, mental health problems, etc. Additionally, ethanol is used as a solvent, disinfectant, and fuel. Industrially, it is used in chemical synthesis, pharmaceuticals, and biofuels. Source: Wikipedia. Ethanol, English, ethanol, commonly known as alcohol and fire wine, is a type of alcohol and the main component of wine. The chemical formula is C2H6O, the representative formula is C2H5O, and the structural simplified formula is CH3CH2O or C2H5O, or abbreviated as ETOH. ET represents ethyl. Ethanol is flammable and is a commonly used fuel, solvent, and disinfectant, and is also used in organic synthesis. Denatured alcohol contains small amounts of toxic methanol. Medical alcohol mainly refers to ethanol with a volume concentration of about 75%, vol%, or a mass concentration of 70% by weight, and also includes other concentrations of alcohol widely used in medicine. Humans have long fermented sugars to produce alcohol, which is also one of the earliest biotechnologies. Ancient people also knew about the euphoric effects of drinking. Humans have been drinking alcohol since prehistoric times, and the main ingredient that makes people euphoric is alcohol. Pottery found in China dating back 9,000 years has the residue of wine on it, so it can be seen that people in the Neolithic age had already started drinking alcohol at that time. The overall chemical formula for alcoholic fermentation is C6H12O6, glucose, plus fermentation enzyme 2C2H5O plus 2CO2. Although distillation technology existed in ancient Greece and Arabia, the first person to record the use of wine distillation to produce alcohol was the alchemist of the Salerno school in Italy in the 12th century. The first person to mention pure alcohol was Roman Rule. In 1796, Johann Tobias Lowitz used partially purified ethanol, ethanol water azeotrope, to prepare pure ethanol by adding in excess of anhydrous alkali to the partially purified ethanol and distilling it at a lower temperature. Lavoie discovered that ethanol is composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other elements. In 1807, Nicholas Theodore Saussure determined the chemical formula of ethanol. 50 years later, Archibald Scott Cooper published the structural formula for ethanol, one of the first structural formulas discovered. Michael Faraday was the first to synthesize ethanol in 1825, when he discovered that sulfuric acid could absorb large amounts of coal gas. He gave the sulfuric acid solution that adsorbed gas to British scientist Henry Hennell, who discovered in 1826 that it contained ethyl sulfuric acid. In 1828, Hennell and the French scientist Cyrillaz separately discovered that ethyl sulfate could be decomposed to produce ethanol. Therefore, Michael Faraday accidentally discovered in 1825 that ethanol can be produced by using ethylene, a component in coal gas, as a raw material and using an acid catalyst hydration reaction, which is similar to the way ethanol is produced industrially today. The United States used ethanol as a fuel for street lamps in the 1840s, but during the Civil War, industrial ethanol was heavily taxed. This practice had no economic benefits. The tax on industrial ethanol was not eliminated until 1906. Since 1908, ethanol has also been one of the fuels for automobiles. For example, the Ford Model T can choose gasoline or alcohol as fuel. Ethanol is also one of the commonly used fuels for alcohol lamps. Industrial ethanol is generally produced from ethylene. Ethanol is often used as a solvent for substances that humans may come into contact with or use, such as perfumes, paints, and medicines. Ethanol is both a solvent and a raw material for making other substances. Ethanol has been used as a fuel that can provide light and heat for a long time, and recently there has been research into internal combustion engines that can use ethanol as fuel. Fourth, alcohol dependence, alcohol dependence disorder. Source: ChatGPT. Alcohol dependence, also known as alcohol dependence disorder or alcohol addiction, is a chronic disease that refers to physical and psychological dependence on alcohol. This dependence may lead to intense cravings for alcohol, an inability to control one's drinking habits, and an inability to stop or reduce drinking, even though one is aware that alcohol may have negative health effects. Alcohol dependence is a complex problem that may involve multiple factors, including genetic, environmental, and personal psychological factors. Symptoms may include intense craving for alcohol, loss of control over alcohol and difficulty controlling the amount of alcohol consumed. Continue to drink alcohol, even if you know it is harmful to your health. Increased tolerance to alcohol requires more alcohol to achieve the same effect. Withdrawal symptoms, such as tremors, anxiety, nausea, etc., occur when you stop drinking. Social and work functioning is impaired as alcohol abuse interferes with daily life. Treating alcohol dependence often requires a comprehensive approach that may include psychotherapy, medication, and social support. The abstinence process may involve gradually reducing alcohol intake, supporting patients to manage withdrawal symptoms, and providing a recovery program and support network to help maintain abstinence. Source: Wikipedia. Alcohol dependence previously considered a psychiatric diagnosis according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th edition, DSM-4, and ICD-10, International Classification of Diseases, Injuries, and Causes of Death, 10th edition. An individual is physically dependent on alcohol or psychological dependence. Chemically, alcohol is called ethanol. By 2013, the condition was reclassified as an alcohol use disorder in the 5th edition of the DSM, with alcohol dependence and alcohol inappropriate use being combined into this diagnosis. Alcohol withdrawal syndrome (AWS). It is a series of symptoms that occur after long-term heavy drinking and then reducing or stopping use. Commonly includes anxiety, tremors, night sweats, vomiting, rapid heartbeat, and mild fever. More severe cases may include epilepsy, hallucinations, and delirium tremens, DTs. Symptoms usually begin around 6 hours after drinking alcohol, are most severe within the first 24 to 72 hours, and improve after 7 days. People with alcohol dependence may experience such withdrawal symptoms. The timing is after a reduction in alcohol intake, whether the reduction was pre-planned or unplanned. The mechanism that occurs is a decrease in the responsiveness of gamma-aminobutyric acid receptors, GABA receptors, in the brain. These episodes are usually followed up with a clinical institutional alcohol withdrawal assessment, CIWA, or CIWA-AR. Typical treatment for this condition is a benzodiazepine, such as clodiazepine, trade name Librium, or diazepam. Different doses are usually given based on the individual's symptoms. Thiamine, vitamin B1, is also routinely recommended. The patient's electrolyte imbalance and hypoglycemia also need to be addressed. Early treatment improves outcomes. In the Western world, approximately 15% of people have an alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, at some point. About half of people with alcohol use disorders experience withdrawal symptoms after cutting back on drinking, and 4% experience severe symptoms. Of those who develop severe symptoms, up to 15% die. Hippocrates, revered as the father of medicine, described this symptom as early as 400 BC. But it's not believed to be a common problem until the 1700s. The signs and symptoms of alcohol withdrawal occur primarily in the body's central nervous system. The severity of withdrawal can range from mild, e.g., sleep disturbances and anxiety, to severe and life-threatening symptoms, e.g., alcoholic hallucinations, delirium tremens, and autonomic disturbances. Symptoms usually begin 6 to 24 hours after drinking alcohol. Lasts a week. To be classified as having this syndrome, patients must exhibit at least 2 of the following symptoms: increased hand tremor, insomnia, nausea or vomiting, transient hallucinations, auditory, visual, or tactile, psychomotor agitation, anxiety, tonic-clonic seizures, and autonomic disorders. Symptom severity is determined by many factors, the most important of which are alcohol intake, the length of time the individual has been drinking, and previous history of alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Symptoms are also grouped and categorized as alcoholic hallucinations. Patients experience brief visual, auditory, or tactile hallucinations, but are awake at other times. Withdrawal seizures. This type of seizure occurs within 48 hours after stopping drinking, either as a single generalized tonic-clonic seizure or as brief but multiple seizures. Delirium tremens, hyperadrenergic state, disorientation, tremors, night sweats, disturbances in attention/consciousness, and audio and visual hallucinations. Usually occurs within 24 to 72 hours after stopping drinking. Delirium tremens is the most severe form of withdrawal symptoms, occurring in 5% to 20% of alcoholics and in 1/3 of patients with withdrawal epilepsy. 5th. Alcohol addiction levels. Source: ChatGPT. The degree of alcohol addiction can vary based on factors such as individual differences and drinking history and frequency. Generally speaking, the degree of alcohol addiction can be described according to the following levels. Social drinker. Most people fall into this category. They drink moderately in social situations or specific activities without developing a strong dependence on alcohol or a persistent drinking habit. Problem drinker. People at this level may have begun to experience some alcohol-related problems, such as drinking and driving, being affected by alcohol at work or school, etc. They may have some degree of dependence on alcohol, but not to the point of severe addiction. Alcohol dependent. People in this stage have a strong dependence on alcohol, and they may experience withdrawal symptoms such as tremors, anxiety, nausea, etc. when they stop drinking. Alcohol cravings and uncontrollable drinking habits can severely impact their lives, health, and relationships. Severe addict. People at this level are extremely dependent on alcohol and drinking becomes their primary goal in life. At this time, they may develop serious physical health problems that have serious consequences for their work, family, and social lives. These stages are not strict dividing lines, but a gradual process. The degree of alcohol addiction can fluctuate within these levels depending on the individual's circumstances and drinking behavior. Source: Taiwan Yadong Hospital. What to do about alcohol addiction? Doctor, understand the degree of addiction and the 3 different stages of alcohol withdrawal symptoms. A 2014 study exploring the relationship between alcohol use patterns and medical use behavior among Chinese people aged 18 to 64 pointed out that the prevalence of daily drinking among young adults and middle-aged people was 1.82% and 4.82% respectively, and possible alcohol dependence was 1.82% and 4.82%, respectively. 2.4% and 2.27%. However, since the COVID-19 epidemic swept the world in 2020, the economic and industrial impact, daily work and rest patterns, and restricted scope of activities in the affected areas have caused more people to have anxiety, panic, depression, and interpersonal conflicts. Factors that lead to mental illness, such as reduced positive social interaction and exercise, are also the breeding ground for the development or worsening of alcohol addiction. Foreign reports even pointed out that in the environment of home restrictions for epidemic prevention, many people want to deal with their uneasiness about the epidemic, consume extra idle time, and resolve the boredom of interpersonal alienation, etc., and even hold online social gatherings on the screen. Coupled with the convenience of today's delivery services, drinking at home has become easier and less controllable, and wine merchants have benefited from the growth in sales against the epidemic. In fact, there are many types of alcohol. The higher the concentration of alcohol, the lower the amount that can be safely consumed. The current international standard is to drink a can of 350 ml beer as 1 unit. For other alcoholic drinks, please refer to the following unit conversion. If a man drinks more than 4 units a day or a total of more than 14 units a week, and a woman drinks more than 3 units a day or a total of more than 7 units a week, it is considered excessive drinking. Please refer to the following. In addition, if any one of the following preliminary 4 questions is met, there may be a problem of excessive drinking. If more than 2 of the following are met, please seek relevant professional advice and treatment as soon as possible. When alcoholic patients intend to quit drinking, they often develop alcohol withdrawal symptoms. As the time between alcohol withdrawal becomes longer, different stages of symptoms will appear. The first stage, within 12 hours of stopping drinking, symptoms such as rapid heartbeat, cold sweat all over the body, trembling hands, restlessness, insomnia, vomiting, gastrointestinal discomfort, headache, loss of appetite and other symptoms of sympathetic nervous system hyperactivity will occur. The second stage, from 12 hours to 48 hours after stopping drinking, more serious cardiovascular problems may occur, such as drastic changes in blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, auditory hallucinations including human voices talking or ringing, and vivid and exaggerated visions. For alcoholic epilepsy with hallucinations, foaming at the mouth and convulsions. If traditional anti-epileptic drugs are not effective at this time, benzodiazepines must be administered quickly to be effective. The third stage, 48 hours to a week after stopping drinking, some alcoholics will experience severe confusion, uncontrollable moodiness, strange speech content, memory misplacement, loss of orientation and other symptoms of alcoholic delirium. At this time, the patient may be at risk of death regardless of his physical condition, and may cause harm to himself or others due to irritable and bizarre uncontrollable behavior in life. It is recommended that people with alcohol addiction seek help from relevant professional medical teams if they are determined to quit drinking. It is not easy to quit drinking based on willpower alone. If you stop drinking on your own, you will have to endure very uncomfortable withdrawal symptoms and an increased risk of death. In addition to the withdrawal symptoms, the difficulty in quitting alcohol is the need to have the willpower to face the temptation of alcohol. Currently, Taiwan has introduced 2 treatments for craving, naltrexone and acamprosate. Drugs. International research journals have shown that these 2 drugs have clear effects on improving alcohol cravings. They must be prescribed by a professional physician to ensure the safety of drug treatment. Regarding alcohol addiction treatment and assistance in alcohol withdrawal, some hospitals have relevant channels to help you. Through outpatient or inpatient treatment channels, they provide relevant alcohol withdrawal drugs and psychological treatment, which can successfully reduce alcohol withdrawal symptoms or craving for alcohol use and other behaviors. It has helped many alcoholics improve their drinking problems. However, we must continue to be alert to one thing: alcohol addiction is a chronic disease. It is not easy to win the battle once and for all and never relapse. It still requires self-management by the patient, support from family and friends, and restoration of normal interpersonal and social roles in order to stay away from the deep waters of alcohol addiction. Danger zone, and then regain a healthy and bright life. 6th. Alcohol addiction test. Source: ChatGPT. Tests to identify alcohol addiction can serve as an initial assessment, but the most reliable diagnosis still needs to be made by a medical professional. Here's a common alcohol addiction risk assessment test that can help you get a first look at the likelihood of an alcohol problem. Please note that this is a self-assessment tool and is not a substitute for professional medical diagnosis. Here is a common test question. Has your drinking caused physical harm to yourself or others, or caused an argument or conflict? Do you frequently neglect work, school, or family responsibilities because of your drinking? Have you ever had legal problems due to your drinking, such as driving under the influence or other violations? Have you tried to control or reduce your drinking, but without success? Do you often have strong cravings for alcohol? Are you experiencing physical discomfort due to alcohol withdrawal, such as tremors, anxiety, nausea, etc.? Do you feel guilty, depressed, or anxious after drinking alcohol? Is more alcohol often needed to get the same effect? If you answered yes to most of these questions, you may be at risk for an alcohol problem. Source: The News Lens. Taiwan's Ministry of Health and Welfare provides 10 simple questions in the Alcohol Use Disorder Identification Test, audit, to allow the public to self-test and detect early to avoid the harm caused by excessive drinking and alcohol addiction. The Alcohol Use Disorder Confirmation Test assesses people's drinking habits in the past year. If the score is greater than or equal to 8 for men and greater than or equal to 6 for women, they may have problem drinking or alcohol addiction. People can assess their alcohol addiction status based on the following questions. Several common alcoholic beverages and the number of alcohol units they contain. Unit/bottle. A. Canned beer, 1. B. Bolida, Visby, 600 cubic centimeters 4. C. Wine, red wine, 4.2. D. Ginseng wine, 300 cubic centimeters 7.5. E. Shaoxing wine, 8. F. Rice wine, 11. G. Sorghum wine, 300 cubic centimeters 14.5. H. Whiskey, brandy, 600 cubic centimeters 20.5. Alcohol Use Disorder Confirmation Test / Please answer based on your drinking status in the past year. Q1. How often do you drink? A. Never, 0 points. B. At least once a month, 1 point. C. 2 to 4 times a month, 2 points. D. 2 to 3 times a week, 3 points. E. More than 4 times a week, 4 points. Q2. On a typical drinking day, how many drinks, units, can you drink in a day? A. 0.1 or 2, 0 points. B. 0.3 or 4, 1 point. C. 0.5 or 6, 2 points. D. 0.7 or 9, 3 points. E. More than 10, 4 points. Q3. How often do you drink more than 6 units of alcohol? A. Never, 0 points. B. Less than once a month, 1 point. C. Every month, 2 points. D. Every week, 3 points. E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q4. How common do you find that once you start drinking, you always want to keep drinking? A. Never, 0 points. B. Less than once a month, 1 point. C. Every month, 2 points. D. Every week, 3 points. E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q5. How common is it that you are unable to do the things you normally do because of drinking? A. Never, 0 points. B. Less than once a month, 1 point. C. Every month, 2 points. D. Every week, 3 points. E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q6. After a period of heavy drinking, how common is it that you need a drink in the morning to feel good? A. Never, 0 points, B. Less than once a month, 1 point, C. Every month, 2 points, D. Every week, 3 points, E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q7. How common is it to feel guilty or blame yourself after drinking that you shouldn't have drank like that? A. Never, 0 points, B. Less than once a month, 1 point, C. Every month, 2 points, D. Every week, 3 points, E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q8. How common is it to forget what happened the night before after drinking? A. Never, 0 points, B. Less than once a month, 1 point, C. Every month, 2 points, D. Every week, 3 points, E. Every day or almost every day, 4 points. Q9. Has anyone else or yourself ever been injured due to your drinking? A. None, 0 points, B. Yes, but not in the past year, 2 points, C. Yes, but not in the past year, 3 points. Q10. Have any relatives, friends, doctors, or other medical personnel ever been concerned about your drinking problem, or suggested that you drink less? A. None, 0 points, B. Yes, but not in the past year, 2 points, C. Yes, but not in the past year, 3 points. 7th. Dangers of alcohol. Source: ChatGPT. Alcohol can cause many harmful effects, not only on physical health, but also on social, psychological, and behavioral effects. Here are some of the main harms alcohol can cause. Physical health problems. Long-term heavy drinking can lead to a variety of physical health problems, including liver disease, fatty liver disease, hepatitis, cirrhosis, cardiovascular disease, gastrointestinal problems, compromised immune system, etc. Mental health problems. Alcohol may aggravate mental health problems such as anxiety and depression, and long-term alcohol abuse may also lead to cognitive decline and mental disorders. Social and interpersonal relationships. Alcohol abuse can affect relationships, lead to arguments, conflicts, and even breakup of families or damage to friendships. Work and academic effects. Chronic alcohol abuse may result in reduced ability to work or study, absenteeism, dereliction of work, or poor academic performance. Increased risk of accidents and injuries. Alcohol impairs judgment and reflexes, increasing the risk of being involved in a traffic accident, or injury. Addiction and dependence. Long-term alcohol consumption can lead to dependence and addiction to alcohol, causing withdrawal symptoms and physical dependence. Malnutrition and health problems. Alcohol is high in calories but has low nutritional value, and long-term alcohol abuse may lead to malnutrition and health problems. The degree of harm from alcohol is affected by the amount and frequency of drinking, individual health, and other factors. Source: Taiwan Academic Foundation for Liver Disease Prevention and Treatment. There is no safe dose of alcohol. Drinking alcohol damages the liver and body, and increases the risk of cancer. Humanity has had a drinking culture for thousands of years. However, since ancient times, there has also been a saying that alcohol is a poison that penetrates the intestines. Drinking cups of yellow soup will bear the brunt of the damage to your health. In addition to alcoholic liver disease, the chances of suffering from oral cancer, nasopharyngeal cancer, esophageal cancer, and other cancers will also increase. Drunk driving may also endanger the lives of others, leading to cases of drunken violence, etc. The harm cannot be underestimated. A study by the National Health Service of the Ministry of Health and Welfare estimated that about 4,500 people in Taiwan die from alcohol-related injuries every year, with an average of 11 deaths every day. More than 40,000 people fall ill due to drinking, and the overall medical resource cost is about 35 billion, with economic losses reaching nearly 54.9 billion yuan. Domestic non-governmental organizations have also designated May 9 as Taiwan Alcohol-Free Day to promote the health concept of no alcohol, moderate alcohol, and zero alcohol. Although there was a saying in the past that a small amount of drinking is good for health and a small amount of drinking was said to be helpful in preventing ischemic stroke, recent studies have confirmed that moderate drinking does not have a protective effect. In the past, the idea that a small amount of drinking was good for the heart is no longer true. Couldn't be more applicable. A large-scale study published in 2018 by the internationally renowned medical journal The Lancet pointed out that because drinking alcohol has carcinogenic effects on the human body, there is no harmless drinking. Only by reducing the amount of alcohol consumed to zero can we avoid alcohol's harmful effects on the body. Various hazards. A study published in JAMA Network Open on March 31, 2023 also showed that drinking a small amount of alcohol does not prevent death from various causes. The study, a systematic review of 107 studies involving more than 4.8 million participants, found that those who drank less than 25 grams of ethanol, alcohol, per day had no significant risk of all-cause mortality compared with those who did not drink alcohol. Reduce. Female drinkers who drank 25 grams or more per day and male drinkers who drank 45 grams or more per day had a significantly increased risk of mortality from all causes. Additionally, the study found that female drinkers had a significantly higher risk of death compared with women who had never drank alcohol. Another medical journal, The Lancet Oncology, also published a paper in August 2021, Global Cancer Burden Due to Alcohol Consumption in 2020. The study pointed out that among all new cancer cases worldwide in 2020, about 740,000 cases, 4.1%, can be attributed to alcohol consumption, with approximately 3/4 of the cases in men. The top 3 cancer sites attributable to alcohol are esophageal cancer, liver cancer, and female breast cancer. The study points out that alcohol intake can lead to cancer development through multiple biological pathways, including changes in DNA, proteins, and lipids or damage caused by acetaldehyde, a carcinogenic metabolite of ethanol, oxidative stress, and changes in the regulation of hormones such as estrogens and androgens. Ethanol may also indirectly promote cancer development by acting as a solvent for other carcinogens, such as chemicals in tobacco. Many studies have long pointed out that alcohol has toxic effects on the central nervous system, digestive system, and cardiovascular system. Alcoholic beverages have been classified as Category 1 carcinogens by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC. A paper in the British journal Alcohol and Alcoholism in May 2022, Drinking, Medical Significance, Liver, and Others, pointed out that drinking affects almost every system of the body, and alcohol-related cancers include aerodigestive tract, oral cavity, pharynx, larynx, esophagus, cancer, gastric cancer, hepatocellular carcinoma, pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, bladder cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, skin cancer, hematological malignant tumors, etc. Alcohol is highly related to various digestive system cancers. It is speculated that when drinking yellow soup, alcohol directly damages mucosal cells, causing repeated cell damage and eventually causing cancer over time. In addition, long-term drinking may increase the permeability of the intestinal mucosa, which is known as leaky gut syndrome, making it easier for bacterial protein toxins to enter the body's circulation through the hepatic portal vein system, triggering a systemic inflammatory response. Under normal circumstances, the food we eat is digested and absorbed in the gastrointestinal tract. Although the food itself may contain bacteria or toxins, the normal intestinal wall is intact, and bacterial toxins have little chance of entering the body. Once the intestinal cells are affected by external forces, such as stress, alcohol, etc., leaky gut syndrome may occur. The intestinal wall is seriously inflamed and cracks appear, which is like an open door, allowing bacteria or toxins to have the opportunity to escape into the blood vessels through the cracks and follow the blood. It flows everywhere, causing organ damage and inflammation throughout the body, and chronic inflammation has been proven to be related to the occurrence of cancer. Alcohol is mainly metabolized by the liver. The first step is to metabolize it into toxic acetaldehyde by alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, and then metabolize it into non-toxic acetic acid by acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH2. When the body's genetic abnormality ALDH2 function is poor, the clearance rate of acetaldehyde will be slow, causing the concentration of acetaldehyde in the blood to increase, and symptoms such as blushing, accelerated heartbeat, headache, dizziness, vomiting, and hangover are likely to occur, also known as it's called alcohol intolerance. According to research from the Stanford Medical School in the United States, Taiwan has the highest rate of poor ALDH2 function in the world. Nearly half, 45 to 47%, of the population has poor ALDH2 function, which is higher than 35% in mainland China, 30% in Japan and South Korea, 20% is even higher, and the proportion is much higher than that of white people. Research shows that people who blush when drinking alcohol drink 2 glasses of red wine a day and are 50 times more likely to develop esophageal cancer than non-drinkers. Therefore, Chinese people who drink alcohol are more likely to develop cancer. Blushing after drinking can actually be seen as a protective mechanism to remind such people to avoid drinking. People who drink without blushing should not be greedy for alcohol, because alcohol has the same harm to the human body. If you rely on yourself to stay drunk after 1,000 drinks, one drink after another, you will be more likely to drink too much, causing greater health hazards. It is generally known that drinking alcohol can damage the liver. If you like to drink alcohol, or drink a lot of alcohol in a short period of time, and your liver index is abnormal, doctors will suspect whether alcohol is the cause. There are many clinically common alcoholic liver diseases, ALD, including alcoholic fatty liver, alcoholic hepatitis, alcoholic cirrhosis, and liver cancer. Since more than 90% of alcohol is metabolized by the liver, reduced nicotinic acid adenine dinucleotide, NADH, is produced during alcohol metabolism, which inhibits the metabolism of fatty acids and increases the synthesis of fatty acids, excessive fatty acids. It then combines with glycerol to form triglycerides. Excess triglycerides accumulate in liver cells, which is the so-called fatty liver. Fatty liver and alcoholic hepatitis often coexist. Liver inflammation can induce liver fibrosis, which may progress to cirrhosis if it continues. In addition, alcohol can also affect iron metabolism and cause inflammatory reactions in liver cells. When liver cells become inflamed, they activate stellate cells distributed in the liver sinusoids. The stellate cells produce collagen, causing liver fibrosis and cirrhosis. The liver is a silent organ. An alcoholic fatty liver disease itself usually has no symptoms. Most of the time, it is when the liver is inflamed and symptoms such as fatigue, loss of appetite, and fever appear that something is wrong. If you continue to ignore it, it will progress to cirrhosis. When symptoms such as spider-like red nevus, abdominal distension, ascites, lower limb edema, portal hypertension, splenomegaly, hepatic encephalopathy and other symptoms appear, the condition is probably very serious. The so-called trilogy of liver diseases of hepatitis, cirrhosis, and liver cancer is not exclusive to people with hepatitis B and C viruses. Alcoholic liver disease caused by drinking alcohol may also go through this trilogy. If you are a patient with hepatitis B or C, you should avoid drinking alcohol, because the additive effect of the virus and alcohol will cause more severe and unbearable damage to the liver and accelerate the progression of the disease. Usually liver inflammation caused by alcohol abuse can be seen from the liver inflammation index. The GOT value, also known as AST, is usually more than 2 or 3 times higher than the GPT value, also known as ALT. In addition, You can also draw blood to test gamma-GT, gamma-glutamyl transpeptidase, which is an enzyme that breaks down proteins. Gamma-GT will increase significantly 12 to 24 hours after drinking a lot of alcohol. People with alcoholic liver disease usually have elevated gamma-GT levels in their blood. The current treatment for alcoholic liver disease does not have good therapeutic drugs like viral hepatitis. It can only alleviate the symptoms. For example, when the liver index is too high and combined with jaundice, high-dose steroids will be used. Alcohol abuse will affect nutritional intake. Causes vitamin B complex and folic acid deficiency, so nutrients will be supplemented as appropriate. Commonly used liver protective agents, such as drugs containing glycyrrhizin and silymarin, are still controversial as to whether they can slow down alcoholic liver disease. But these are only symptomatic treatments. If you want to stay away from alcoholic liver disease, there is no other way. Only quitting alcohol is the best solution. If liver cirrhosis or liver cancer requires liver transplantation due to alcohol, you must also quit drinking before you can accept organ donation. Alcoholic liver disease is a disease caused by behavior, and only through behavioral changes can it be fundamentally reversed. A paper in the British journal Alcohol and Alcoholism points out that heavy drinking is associated with an increased risk of liver cirrhosis, and the risk is related to the length of drinking time, because long-term drinking can trigger a series of mechanisms, such as fat accumulation in liver cells, inflammatory damage, and fibrosis, ultimately cause cancer. However, liver function improves when alcohol is withdrawn, as studies have shown that abstinence from alcohol can reduce portal hypertension complications and mortality even in advanced stages of alcoholic cirrhosis. When you have repeated drinking behavior and you still can't control it even though you don't want to drink, you may have reached the level of alcohol addiction. According to the Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, DSM-5, if there is increased tolerance to alcohol, such as the need to increase the amount of alcohol to achieve the same effect as before, or continuing to use the same amount of alcohol without feeling satisfied, and withdrawal symptoms such as rapid heartbeat, increased hand trembling, insomnia, nausea and vomiting, anxiety and even epileptic seizures, etc., are likely to be addicted to alcohol, and should actively seek help to cut off the harm of alcohol. Source: Taiwan Ministry of Health and Welfare. Does drinking a small amount of alcohol protect your cardiovascular system? Beware of cancer coming to your door. Drinking alcohol will increase the risk of cancer, including head and neck cancers such as oral cancer and nasopharyngeal cancer, as well as esophageal cancer, liver cancer, breast cancer, etc. Even if you drink a small amount, the chance of getting cancer is 1.26 times that of not drinking. Excessive drinking can even be as high as 5.13 times 1. According to a large-scale study published in the well-known medical journal The Lancet in 2018, based on the carcinogenic effects of drinking alcohol on the human body, there is no limit for harmless drinking. Only by reducing the amount of alcohol consumed to zero can the harmful effects of alcohol on the body be avoided. Various hazards too. In recent years, studies have found that the evidence for the protective effect of moderate drinking is getting weaker and weaker. The past belief that small amounts of drinking is good for the heart is no longer applicable. In addition, more than half of Taiwan's population is genetically deficient in an alcohol metabolizing enzyme called acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH2. After drinking alcohol, they are prone to symptoms such as flushing, rapid heartbeat, headache, dizziness, nausea, and hangover. Also known as alcohol intolerance, this genetic mutation is unique to Asians and will significantly increase the chance of developing cancer. Heavy drinkers may even have a 50-fold risk of esophageal cancer 3,4. According to a study by Stanford University, Taiwanese people have the highest rate of alcohol metabolism gene defects in the world. They especially need to exercise moderation, and it is best not to drink. According to statistics from the World Health Organization, more than 3 million people around the world died from alcohol-related injuries in 2015. Among these people who died from drinking, 28.7% died from drunk driving accidents and violent injuries, and 21.3% died from digestive tract diseases, including hepatitis and liver cirrhosis. 19% died of cardiovascular disease, and 12.6% died of cancer. In addition, according to statistics from the Police Department of the Ministry of the Interior of China, 100 people died and more than 5,000 were injured due to drunk driving in 2077. Statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare on domestic violence notification incidents across the country in 2017 also found that the abusers were alcoholics. There were 15,939 cases, accounting for about 15.21% of reported domestic violence incidents. According to research from the National Health Department, about 4,500 people die from alcohol-related injuries in Taiwan every year, with an average of 11 people dying every day, and more than 40,000 people dying from alcohol-related injuries every year. Getting sick due to drinking causes an overall loss of about 3.5 billion yuan in medical resources, and an economic loss of nearly 54.9 billion yuan. Director of the National Health Service Wang Yingwei reminded that drinking alcohol is harmful to both the body and people. The medical expenses and income losses caused by drinking and getting sick will also affect family income, and drinking can easily lead to drunk driving, domestic violence, and other injuries. What's more noteworthy is that nearly half of the country's population has alcohol intolerance, which will increase the risk of cancer. It is recommended that the public avoid drinking as much as possible. If there is a need to drink, use tea, water, instead of alcohol and refuse to persuade you to drink. This will keep you healthy and healthy. 8th. Category 1 Carcinogens. Source: ChatGPT. Category 1 carcinogens refer to substances determined to be carcinogenic to humans by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC. IARC divides carcinogens into 4 levels, ranging from 1 to 4 based on the degree of evidence of their carcinogenicity to humans. Among them, the first category of carcinogens is substances determined to be confirmed carcinogens, that is, they are carcinogenic to humans. The evidence is very sufficient and certain. Some substances considered Class 1 carcinogens include tobacco ingredients, tobacco smoke, tar, etc. in tobacco are confirmed to be strong carcinogens and are related to various cancers, especially lung cancer and oral cancer. Certain chemicals, industrial chemicals and compounds such as asbestos, benzene, aniline, benzo, pyrene, etc. have been proven to be carcinogenic to humans. Certain infectious agents, human papillomavirus, HPV, for example, has been linked to cervical cancer and some oral and throat cancers. Certain drugs, such as benzo, pyrene analogues and some immunosuppressants, have also been confirmed as Group 1 carcinogens. The classification of these substances as Category 1 carcinogens does not mean that exposure will cause cancer, but that they have the potential to cause cancer. Actual risk depends on the extent, frequency, and individual susceptibility of exposure. Source: Wikipedia. Cancerogenic substances, also known as carcinogens, carcinogens, and carcinogens, refer to any substance that can directly cause cancer in organisms, including chemicals, viruses, radionuclides, etc. After these substances enter the body, they will directly or indirectly damage the body's cells, leading to abnormalities in biological macromolecules, compensatory cell proliferation, activation of proto-oncogenes, inactivation of tumor suppressor genes, defects in DNA damage repair and epigenetic changes, etc., thus induce cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer under the World Health Organization divides carcinogens into 4 categories according to their degree of danger. Category 1 carcinogens, substances or mixtures with clear carcinogenicity to the human body, such as air pollution, tanning beds, aflatoxin, arsenic, asbestos, hexavalent chromium, dioxins, formaldehyde, alcoholic beverages, tobacco, processed meat, and betel nut, etc. Category 2A carcinogens, substances or mixtures that are potentially carcinogenic to humans, and sufficient evidence of carcinogenicity has been found in animal experiments. Although it is theoretically carcinogenic to humans, experimental evidence is limited. Such as acrylamide, inorganic lead compounds, chloramphenicol, red meat, etc. Category 2B carcinogens, substances or mixtures that are less likely to be carcinogenic to humans. The evidence of carcinogenicity found in animal experiments is insufficient, and the evidence of carcinogenicity to humans is limited. Used to classify substances that are less likely to cause cancer than Category 2A, such as coffee, pickles, mobile phone radiation, chloroform, DDT, dichlorvos, naphthalene sanitation balls, nickel metal, nitrobenzene, diesel fuel, and gasoline, etc. Category 3 Carcinogens, substances or mixtures that have not yet been classified as carcinogenic to humans. The evidence of carcinogenicity to humans is insufficient, and the evidence of carcinogenicity in animal experiments is insufficient or limited. Or there is sufficient experimental evidence and sufficient theoretical mechanism to show that it is carcinogenic to certain other animals, but does not have the same carcinogenicity to humans. Such as tea, aniline, Sudan red, caffeine, xylene, saccharin and its salts, diazepam, iron oxide, organic lead compounds, electrostatic fields, melamine, mercury and its inorganic compounds, etc. Category 4 Carcinogens, substances that may not be carcinogenic to the human body but lack sufficient evidence to support their carcinogenicity, such as caprolactam. The United Nations globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals divides carcinogens into two categories. Group 1, confirmed or believed to be potentially carcinogenic to humans. Group 1A, tests based on human evidence. Group 1B, test based on animal evidence. Group 2, suspected carcinogen to humans. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services divides carcinogens into two groups. Confirmed to be potentially carcinogenic to humans. Substances reasonably suspected to be carcinogenic to humans. 9th. Is alcohol good for health? Source: ChatGPT. Moderate drinking may have some health benefits, but that doesn't mean binge drinking or heavy drinking is any better. Here are some of the potential benefits that research suggests may result from moderate drinking. Cardiovascular health. Moderate alcohol consumption, especially red wine, is associated with a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. Some studies show that moderate amounts of red wine can raise good cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of arteriosclerosis. Antioxidant effect. The antioxidant substances in alcohol, especially the polyphenols in red wine, are sometimes considered to fight against free radicals and have certain antioxidant effects. Social effects. Moderate social drinking may facilitate social interaction and relaxation, and some people view it as a way to relax and socialize. Lower diabetes risk. Some studies indicate that moderate alcohol consumption may be associated with a lower risk of diabetes, especially types related to insulin resistance and metabolism. However, these benefits are only possible with moderate drinking. Excessive or long-term alcohol consumption can increase a number of health risks, including liver disease, cardiovascular problems, mental health problems, and an increased risk of certain cancers. Therefore, drinking should be limited and not suitable for everyone. It is important to realize that the definition of moderate drinking varies between countries, cultures, and personal circumstances. For some people, such as pregnant women, people who are taking certain medications, or have certain health conditions, it is best to avoid alcohol. If in doubt, it is best to seek medical advice. Source: BBC News. Is drinking alcohol harmful or beneficial to health? People who enjoy the occasional beer or wine believe that such a habit is good for their health. And those studies that claim that 1 or 2 cups a day will save you from seeing a doctor have also been highly sought after by the media and the public. But determining whether moderate drinking is good for your health is complicated. An early study led by Archie Cochrane, the late eminent godfather of evidence-based medicine, found a link between drinking and health. In 1979, Cochrane and 2 colleagues tried to find out the reasons for the different death rates from heart disease in 18 developed countries, including the United States, Britain, and Australia. Their analysis showed a clear and important link between increased alcohol consumption, especially wine, and lower rates of ischemic heart disease caused by fatty deposits in the blood vessels that supply blood to the heart. Citing previous studies demonstrating a link between alcohol consumption and reduced mortality from heart disease, Cochrane and colleagues suggested that aromatics and other compounds in alcohol, recently hypothesized to be antioxidants such as plant polyphenols, may be contributing to this phenomenon. Oxidizing agent, rather than the alcohol itself. In the spirit of evidence-based medicine, they called for experimental exploration of this issue. Experiments on alcohol using test subjects, while interesting, are unlikely to reveal whether alcohol has the chronic disease benefits that have been speculated. Therefore, most research on alcohol and its health benefits and harms has been conducted in the form of long-term, population-based studies. In 1986, researchers surveyed more than 50,000 American male doctors on their drinking and eating habits, medical history, and health over the past 2 years. They found that despite differences in the eating habits of the doctors surveyed, the more alcohol they reported, the lower their odds of having coronary artery disease. Another large study of male doctors, published in 2000, found a U-shaped relationship between moderate drinking and death, but not coronary artery disease. That is, during the 5.5-year study period, male doctors who drank 1 drink a day were less likely to die than those who drank less than 1 drink a week or more than 1 drink a day. This suggests there is a sweet spot for drinking, a middle ground between too much and too little, where the benefits to cardiovascular health offset the risk of death from all causes. But do these benefits come from the alcohol itself? Or is alcohol just a marker for other healthy behaviors? For example, do people who drink moderate amounts of alcohol also exercise regularly, eat a balanced diet, and generally take good care of themselves? In 2005, another study of medical workers, this time 32,000 women and 18,000 men, attempted to answer this question by looking at the impact of their drinking habits on heart attack risk and physiological function. Healthcare workers who drank 1 to 2 drinks 3 or 4 times a week had a lower risk of heart attack. Researchers speculate this may be due to alcohol's effect on high-density lipoprotein cholesterol, the so-called good cholesterol. Cholesterol, as well as glycated hemoglobin, an indicator of diabetes risk, and fibrinogen, the tissue that helps blood clot, produce beneficial effects. All 3 factors play an important role in metabolic syndrome. As a complex group of metabolic disorders, metabolic syndrome is a precursor to cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Some other studies have also found that alcohol can change the balance between the above factors and make it develop in a better direction, which makes it possible that moderate drinking can enhance health. Other studies have confirmed alcohol's optimal effects on ischemic stroke, stroke caused by blood clots in the brain, and death. But before you rush into prescribing a few bottles of wine a week for health reasons, of course you might want to read on. Do non-drinkers actually have a higher risk of death than those who have 1 or 2 drinks a day? This issue does not appear to be as simple as it seems. In 2006, a team of researchers took a closer look at how these studies were designed. Their meta-analysis revealed gaps in the way drinkers, or non-drinkers, are classified. Non-drinkers in many studies included people who had reduced or stopped drinking because of illness or old age. This may result in non-drinkers appearing to have significantly lower health status than the general population. Importantly, studies that did not suffer from this misclassification found no reduction in heart disease and mortality among moderate drinkers. This misclassification hypothesis has been explored in depth by other researchers, including a large UK population-based study published this year. The study shows that if you simply compare the amount of alcohol consumed and health outcomes, moderate drinking is clearly beneficial. But if you take former drinkers out of the non-drinkers group, the benefits look less promising. In fact, they're all gone. Meanwhile, another group of researchers studied people who were allergic to alcohol, and therefore, generally didn't drink at all, and found that people with this genetic marker had better cardiovascular health than those without. The risk of coronary heart disease is also lower. The really bad news is that regardless of whether alcohol has any effect on the risk of heart disease, it can hasten death in a variety of other ways. The World Health Organization reported last year that drinking alcohol can increase the risk of depression and anxiety, cirrhosis of the liver, pancreatitis, suicide, violence, and accidental injury. Alcohol can also cause cancer of the mouth, nose, throat, esophagus, colon, liver, and breast in women. Between 4% and 30% of cancer deaths worldwide are attributable to alcohol consumption. For the most common form of breast cancer, this figure is 8%. Importantly, even moderate drinking increases risk. Just 1 drink a day increases the risk of breast cancer by 4%, while excessive drinking increases the risk by 40% to 50%. Heavy drinking can weaken your immune system, which can lead to pneumonia and tuberculosis. It can also lead to risky sexual behavior and increase the chance of acquiring sexually transmitted infections, such as HIV. And drinking alcohol during pregnancy can cause fetal damage and fetal alcohol syndrome. In total, more than 200 diseases and injuries are related to drinking, and 30 of them are caused entirely by alcohol. But the idea that drinking in moderation may be good for the body has not completely disappeared, and even some organizations dedicated to dealing with alcohol issues have been forced to admit that drinking small amounts may have a positive effect in preventing heart disease and certain types of strokes. 10th. The hangover. Source: ChatGPT. Hangover is a series of uncomfortable symptoms that occur after drinking alcohol, including headache, nausea, dizziness, fatigue, dry mouth, etc. It is caused by the toxic metabolites produced by the metabolism of alcohol, especially a metabolite of alcohol called acetaldehyde, which has a negative impact on the body. Major hangover symptoms usually begin within a few hours of drinking and may last throughout the day or longer, depending on factors such as the amount of alcohol consumed, an individual's metabolic capacity, and whether they were adequately hydrated while drinking. Hangovers can have a negative impact on an individual's daily activities and functions, leading to reduced productivity at work or school, physical discomfort, and unhappiness. Ways to relieve a hangover often include hydration. Drinking enough water can help relieve dehydration and dry mouth and help promote alcohol metabolism in the body. Rest and sleep. Adequate rest and sleep help restore the body and relieve symptoms such as fatigue and headaches. Nutritional supplements. Eating easily digestible foods and taking in vitamins and minerals can help restore body functions. Avoid further drinking. Avoiding further drinking can reduce the severity of your hangover. While there are many natural ways to reduce the discomfort of a hangover, your best bet is to avoid drinking too much alcohol and to make sure you stay properly hydrated while drinking. Preventing a hangover is more important than mitigating its discomfort. Source: Wikipedia. Hangover refers to a variety of unpleasant physical and psychological effects that commonly occur after drinking alcohol, such as wine, beer, and distilled spirits. A hangover can last for several hours or more than 24 hours. Typical symptoms of a hangover may include headache, drowsiness, concentration problems, dry mouth, dizziness, fatigue, gastrointestinal discomfort, e.g., vomiting, diarrhea, lack of hunger, light sensitivity, depression, night sweats, nausea, overarousal, irritability, and anxiety. Although the causes of hangovers are still poorly understood, they are linked to several factors, including acetaldehyde accumulation, changes in the immune system and glucose metabolism, dehydration, metabolic acidosis, disorders of prostaglandin synthesis, increased cardiac output, and vasodilation. Lack of sleep and malnutrition are related. Food additives or byproducts, alcohol congeners, in alcoholic beverages also play an important role in their specific effects on the beverage. These symptoms usually occur when the intoxicating effects of alcohol begin to wear off, the morning after a night of heavy drinking. Although there are many treatments and folk remedies, there is no convincing evidence that any of them can effectively prevent or treat hangovers. Avoiding alcohol, or drinking in moderation, is the most effective way to avoid a hangover. Socioeconomic consequences of hangovers include workplace absenteeism, impaired job performance, reduced productivity, and poor academic performance. Hangovers may also adversely affect potentially hazardous daily activities, such as driving a car or operating heavy machinery. Hangovers are associated with a variety of medical signs, including drowsiness, headache, concentration problems, dry mouth, dizziness, gastrointestinal upset, fatigue, night sweats, nausea, overarousal, anxiety, and last for a long time, more than 24 hours. General feeling of discomfort. Hangover symptoms occur when the blood alcohol concentration drops significantly, with peaks occurring when the concentration reaches almost zero. Hangover symptoms validated in case control studies include general malaise, thirst, headache, dizziness, or fainting, fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea, abdominal pain, and a feeling of a racing heart. Some symptoms, such as changes in sleep patterns and gastrointestinal discomfort, are directly affected by alcoholism or alcohol withdrawal syndrome. Drowsiness and impaired cognitive function are two main characteristics of a hangover. 11th. Microsomal ethanol oxidation system, MEOS. Source: ChatGPT. The microsomal ethanol oxidation system, MEOS, is an important alcohol metabolism pathway in the human body. When we consume alcohol, most of it is metabolized and eliminated in the liver, and some of it is metabolized by the MEOS system. The MEOS system mainly includes some enzymes in the cytoplasm, the most important one being cytochrome P450E1, CYP2E1. CYP2E1 catalyzes the oxidation reaction of alcohol, converting alcohol into acetaldehyde and then into acetic acid. This process produces the toxic metabolite acetaldehyde, which is one of the causes of hangovers and feelings of alcohol intoxication. The MEOS system will be more active in the case of heavy drinking or long-term drinking, because long-term intake of alcohol can cause the liver to produce more CYP2E1. However, this may also increase exposure to acetaldehyde and other metabolites, increasing potential damage to the body. Although the MEOS system plays an important role in alcohol metabolism, it is not the only alcohol metabolism pathway. Most alcohol is metabolized and eliminated by two enzymes, alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, and alcohol dehydrogenase, ALDH. ADH converts alcohol into acetaldehyde, and ALDH further converts acetaldehyde into acetic acid, which is then excreted by other metabolic pathways in the body. Source: Exmol Academic Journal. Particulate ethanol oxidation systems, over 50 years of success and an encouraging future. 50 years ago in 1968, pioneering scientists Charles S. Lieber and Leonore M. DeCarli. The discovery of the ability of hepatic microsomes to oxidize ethanol, ETOH, and its naming as the microsomal ethanol oxidation system, MEOS, revolutionized clinical and experimental alcohol research. The past 50 years of MEOS are now reviewed and highlighted. Since its discovery and extensive research overview, insights into the fascinating nature of MEOS have been gained. MEOS, unlike alcohol dehydrogenase and catalase, represents a multi-enzyme complex with cytochrome P450, CYP, and its preferred isoenzyme CYP. 2E1, NADPH cytochrome P450 reductase and phospholipids. 2. It plays an important role in alcohol metabolism due to prolonged drinking, at high alcohol concentrations and after induction. 3. Hydroxyl radicals and superoxide radicals promote microsomal ETOH oxidation with the assistance of phospholipid peroxide. 4. New aspects focus on the generation of microsomes through the generation of reactive oxygen species, ROS, as well as intermediates such as hydroxyethyl, ethoxy, acetyl, singlet, hydroxyl, alkazy, and peroxyl radicals. Oxidative stress. ROS are involved in the initiation and perpetuation of alcoholic liver injury when triggered by CYP2E1, thus transforming a previously nutritionally based concept into a defined molecularly based disease. 6. Induction of intestinal CYP2E1 and ROS are involved in endotoxemia. Leaky gut and gut microbiome modification, as well as hepatic CYP2E1 and liver injury. 7. Circulating blood CYP2E1 exosomes may have diagnostic value. 8. Circadian rhythms with high MEOS activity are associated with extensive metabolism of alcohol and potential toxicity risks, and are a largely neglected topic. 9. Multiple genetic animal models are useful and have been used to elucidate mechanistic aspects of MEOS. Essentially, MEOS and its CYP2E1 component currently explain several mechanistic steps leading to alcohol-induced liver injury and have broad prospects in alcohol research. 12th. Alcohol affects drug absorption. Source: ChatGPT. Alcohol may affect drug absorption. It may affect drug absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion in several ways. Change the gastrointestinal environment. Alcohol may irritate the gastric mucosa and increase gastric acid secretion, which may affect the absorption of drugs in the stomach. In addition, alcohol may irritate the intestinal mucosa and change its absorption of drugs. Affects liver metabolism. While alcohol is metabolized by the liver, it may also interfere with the metabolism of other drugs in the liver. This may cause the concentration of the drug to increase or decrease in the body, affecting the efficacy and safety of the drug. Aggravating the side effects of drugs. Alcohol may interact with certain drugs and increase the side effects of drugs. For example, central nervous system depressant drugs and alcohol may increase the impact on the central nervous system when used together. Affects drug distribution and elimination. Alcohol may affect blood flow and drug concentrations in the blood, thereby affecting the distribution and excretion of drugs in the body. Therefore, extreme caution is required when using alcohol and drugs together. It's best to follow your doctor's or pharmacist's advice, understand warnings about alcohol use on your medicine package inserts, and avoid drinking alcohol at the same time or using certain medicines with alcohol. If you have any questions or concerns, it is best to consult a doctor or professional medical practitioner. Source: Tomorrow Science. Alcohol-drug interactions. Alcohol affects the condition of drugs, which may affect the efficacy of the drugs in some cases, or may endanger life in severe cases. The medical term is the interaction between alcohol and drugs, which occurs when the interval between drinking and taking drugs is too short. The main component of alcohol is ethanol, which is absorbed into the bloodstream by the gastrointestinal tract. As the blood flows throughout the body, it will also affect the central nervous system. Ethanol and its metabolite, acetaldehyde, can produce many effects, such as blushing, dizziness, drowsiness, relaxation, etc., which are all reactions that occur when alcohol is absorbed and metabolized in the body. Normally, over a period of time, ethanol will be metabolized by the liver into carbon dioxide and water and excreted from the body. Drugs must also undergo absorption, distribution, and metabolism before they can have therapeutic effect in the body. If you take medicine with alcohol, alcohol may interfere with the absorption, distribution, and metabolism of the medicine, causing unexpected effects. Taking alcohol with certain drugs may enhance drug reactions, which is known as a synergistic effect. Combining sedative sleeping pills with alcohol may enhance the central nervous system depression of the sleeping pills. Combining alcohol with hypoglycemic drugs may cause hypoglycemia. Combining alcohol with blood pressure-lowering medications increases the risk of hypertension. Taking medicine and drinking alcohol may compete for the same metabolic enzyme. When the enzyme originally intended to metabolize the drug is used to metabolize alcohol, the drug may not be easily metabolized. This interaction may delay the onset of drug effects and increase the risk of drug side effects. For example, antifungal drugs and antibiotics will inhibit alcohol metabolism, causing alcohol to be unable to be smoothly excreted from the body. Excessive alcohol can cause facial flushing, nausea, vomiting, headache, and difficulty breathing, which are called alcohol withdrawal-like symptoms. Sedative and hypnotic drugs, commonly divided into BZD drugs, non-BZD drugs, and barbiturates. The interaction between these drugs and alcohol may increase central nervous system depression, such as sedation, dizziness, drowsiness, poor coordination, and may even inhibit breathing. BZD drugs such as alprazolam, diazepam, lorazepam, midazolam. Non-BZD drugs such as zolpidem, zopiclone, Zolpidem. Barbiturates, such as phenobarbital, pentobarbital, secobarbital. 2 antidepressants. Common drugs include tricyclic antidepressants, such as amitriptyline. There are also other antidepressant drugs such as escitalopram and citalopram. If taken together with alcohol, it may enhance central nervous system depressant effects such as sedation, dizziness, and drowsiness. 3 antipsychotics. Phenothiazines are common drugs, such as chlorpromazine, fluphenazine, prochlorperazine. Concomitant use with alcohol may enhance central nervous system depressant effects such as sedation, dizziness, and drowsiness. Alcohol may also increase the side effects of extrapyramidal symptoms of drugs, producing dystonia, tremors, limb stiffness, etc. 4 Antiepileptic drugs. Drugs that easily interact with alcohol are phenytoin. Alcohol may increase the metabolism of antiepileptic drugs, causing drug concentrations to decrease and preventing epilepsy to be fully controlled. 5 Antihistamines. Common drugs include brompheniramine, chlorpheniramine, diphenhydramine, hydroxyzine, and ketorizine. If alcohol is taken at the same time, it may potentiate the antihistamine CNS depressant side effects, such as sedation, dizziness, and drowsiness. 6 Anti-inflammatory analgesics, aspirin, NSAIDs, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, such as ibuprofen, indomethacin, mefenamic acid, naproxen. Used at the same time as alcohol, there is a possibility of gastrointestinal bleeding. Acetaminophen may increase the risk of hepatotoxicity and liver damage. 7 Hypoglycemic drugs, glympyride, glipizide, gliburide, and gliclazide are sulfonylureas among hypoglycemic drugs. Alcohol may prolong the blood sugar lowering effect and produce symptoms of hypoglycemia, such as dizziness, blurred vision, rapid heartbeat, trembling, sweating, and possibly coma. 8 Anti-hyperlipidemia drugs. Common drugs are statins, including atorvastatin, simvastatin, lovastatin, and so on. Taking it with alcohol may cause liver damage. 9 Cardiovascular drugs. Common drugs include high blood pressure drugs captopril, felodipine, nifedipine, furosemide, and hydrochlorothiazide. Angina drugs isosorbide, nitroglycerin. Drinking alcohol increases the risk of side effects of low blood pressure, such as dizziness, blurred vision, tiredness, and weakness. 10 Anticoagulant. The one that most commonly interacts with alcohol is warfarin. Alcohol will enhance the anticoagulant effect of the drug and prolong the clotting time. You need to be careful as you may be injured or bleed due to falls or collisions. 11 Antibiotics. Common drugs include cephalosporin antibiotics, such as cefoperazone, cefotetan, cefamandali, and cefmetazole. Antibiotics can affect alcohol metabolism and cause alcohol withdrawal-like symptoms, including facial flushing, nausea, vomiting, headache, and difficulty breathing. Alcohol has a really great impact on drugs, so special attention is needed. If the medicine is used with water as much as possible, if there is an adverse drug reaction caused by alcohol, you must seek further examination and treatment from a doctor to protect your health. 13th. Acetaldehyde. Source: ChatGPT. Acetaldehyde is an organic compound and an intermediate product in the metabolism of alcohol. When the human body ingests alcohol, it is first oxidized into acetaldehyde and then further metabolized into acetic acid. Acetaldehyde is a volatile, pungent-smelling chemical that is often thought to be one of the main causes of hangovers and feelings of discomfort after alcohol consumption. A large amount of acetaldehyde in the body can cause a series of uncomfortable reactions, including typical hangover symptoms such as headache, nausea, and dizziness. In addition, acetaldehyde is also considered a toxic substance. It has certain damaging effects on human cells and tissues, may lead to changes in intracellular structure and function, and long-term exposure may have adverse effects on health. Although acetaldehyde is an intermediate product of alcohol metabolism, its concentration in the body is usually relatively low. The metabolic process of alcohol involves the participation of multiple enzymes, including alcohol dehydrogenase and the microsomal ethanol oxidation system, MEOS, which work together to metabolize alcohol into acetaldehyde, and then further metabolize into acetic acid, which is ultimately excreted from the body. Source: Wikipedia. Acetaldehyde, English, acetaldehyde, also known as acetaldehyde, is an organic compound with the molecular formula CH3CHO or MeCHO. Acetaldehyde is considered one of the most important compounds among aldehydes due to its widespread occurrence in nature and large-scale industrial production. Acetaldehyde can be found in coffee, bread, ripe fruit, and it can also be produced by plants as a metabolite. Acetaldehyde, produced when ethanol is oxidized, is thought to be the cause of hangovers. Acetaldehyde is liquid at room temperature, colorless, flammable, and has a pungent odor. Its melting point is -123.5 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 20.2 degrees Celsius. It can be reduced to ethanol or oxidized to acetic acid. Acetaldehyde can be obtained by controlling the oxidation of ethanol. The most important acetaldehyde synthesis method at present is the Wacker method. Palladium chloride, PdCl2, and copper chloride, CuCl2, are used as catalysts to react air, ethylene, and water to generate acetaldehyde. Another method is to combine acetylene and water under the catalysis of mercury salts, such as mercury sulfate, HgSO4, to generate acetaldehyde. The purity of acetaldehyde produced by this method is high, but operators are prone to mercury poisoning. Now scientists' non-mercury catalysts are being studied and preliminary results have been achieved. 14th. Dopamine. Source: ChatGPT. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter and an important chemical in the human body. It plays an important regulatory role in the brain and is involved in a variety of physiological and psychological functions. Dopamine is associated with aspects such as mood, motivation, pleasure, motor control, and reward behavior. Its features include emotional regulation. Dopamine is involved in emotional regulation and plays an important role in pleasure, happiness, and positive emotional experiences. Motor control. In the brain's motor system, dopamine is critical for coordinating movement, controlling muscle action, and motor learning. Reward behavior. Dopamine is closely related to the reward system and is involved in the perception of rewards, such as food, sex, social interactions, etc. This reward circuit has important implications for motivation and behavioral drives. Cognitive function. Dopamine is also related to learning, memory and attention, and also plays an important role in the maintenance and development of cognitive function. Imbalances or abnormalities in dopamine can have an impact on these functions. For example, insufficient dopamine levels may be associated with neurological disorders such as depression and Parkinson's disease. On the other hand, high dopamine levels are associated with certain mental illnesses such as schizophrenia. Drugs and some behaviors, such as exercise, music, social interaction, etc., can affect the release and activity of dopamine, thereby affecting people's mood and behavior. Source: Wikipedia. Dopamine, English, dopamine, or dihydroxyphenyl ethylamine, referred to as DE, is an important neurotransmitter. Dopamine belongs to catecholamines and phenethylamine derivatives, accounting for 80% of the catecholamines in the brain. The human brain and kidneys can synthesize dopamine by removing the carboxyl group of the precursor L-dopa. Plants and most animals can also synthesize dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a substance released by neurons to send signals to other nerve cells. There are several different dopamine pathways in the brain, one of which plays an important role in the reward system. Most rewards increase dopamine concentrations in the brain. Many addictive drugs also increase dopamine production or prevent its reuptake. Other dopamine pathways are used in the motor system and control the secretion of various hormones. Dopamine is generally believed to be a substance that produces pleasure, but current pharmacological research suggests that dopamine is actually a substance that records the salience of triggers. In other words, dopamine expresses the desire or aversion to a certain outcome, and then drives the person to achieve it or avoid it. Dopamine acts as a local paracrine chemical messenger outside the central nervous system. In blood vessels, it inhibits norepinephrine secretion and causes vasodilation. At normal concentrations, in kidneys, it increases sodium excretion and urine output. In pancreas, it reduces insulin production. In the digestive system, it reduces gastrointestinal motility and protects the gastrointestinal wall. In the immune system, it reduces the activity of lymphocytes. Except for blood vessels, these dopamines are synthesized locally and act locally. Dysfunction of the dopamine system is associated with a variety of important neurological diseases, some of which are treated by altering dopamine action. Parkinson's disease, which causes body tremors and movement disorders, is caused by a deficiency of dopamine-secreting neurons in the substantia nigra area of the midbrain. L-dopa, the most widely used therapeutic drug for Parkinson's disease, is the metabolic precursor of dopamine. Is converted into dopamine. There is evidence that schizophrenia involves altered dopamine activity, so most commonly used antipsychotic drugs are dopamine antagonists and have the effect of reducing dopamine activity. Some of the most effective antiemetics are dopamine antagonists. Restless legs syndrome and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, are both associated with reduced dopamine activity. High doses of dopamine can be addictive, but lower doses can be used to treat ADHD. Dopamine itself is an intravenously administered drug that can treat severe heart failure or cardiogenic shock, as well as hypotension and septic shock in newborn babies. 15th. Treatment for alcohol dependence. Source: ChatGPT. Treatment for alcohol dependence is usually a multifaceted process that may include medical, psychotherapy, and supportive care. The following are common methods used in alcohol dependence treatment. Alcohol withdrawal and withdrawal treatment. For people with alcohol dependence, stopping drinking may be the first step. It is very important to undergo alcohol withdrawal under professional medical supervision, as the process of alcohol withdrawal may be accompanied by withdrawal symptoms, including anxiety, tremors, nausea, etc. Sometimes, doctors will gradually reduce alcohol intake to avoid severe withdrawal symptoms. Medication. Some medications can help relieve withdrawal symptoms, reduce alcohol cravings, or change reactions to alcohol. For example, benzodiazepines may be used during withdrawal to relieve anxiety and suppress symptoms. Psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is essential in the treatment of alcohol dependence. Methods such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, behavioral therapy, and family therapy are widely used to help patients understand the causes of alcohol dependence, learn to cope with triggers, and challenge negative drinking behaviors. Supportive treatment and recovery programs. Supportive treatment and recovery programs help people with alcohol dependence develop healthy lifestyles and coping strategies. This may include joining an alcoholics support group, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, a rehabilitation center, or participating in a psychosocial support program. Assess and treat complications. Alcohol dependence may be accompanied by other health problems, such as mental health problems or physical health problems. Therefore, these complications need to be evaluated and treated simultaneously. Successfully treating alcohol dependence takes time and effort, as each person's situation and coping methods may be different. The key is to seek professional medical and mental health support and develop an appropriate treatment plan and ongoing recovery support based on your individual circumstances. Source: China Medical University Hospital. Alcohol addiction definition. Alcohol addiction refers to a person's inability to control drinking, resulting in impairments in cognition, behavior, body, social function, and interpersonal relationships, but continues to repeat the same behavior. Alcohol addiction is divided into two categories. Alcohol abuse refers to continuous drinking that affects your original life or causes physical harm, but you continue to drink. Alcohol dependence refers to a physical or psychological dependence on alcohol. You need to drink to feel comfortable. If you stop drinking suddenly, you will have withdrawal symptoms. Causes of alcohol addiction. Genetics. Research shows that if one identical twin is an alcoholic, the other twin is twice as likely to develop alcoholism as the other siblings. Physical constitution: Orientals are more likely to lack acetaldehyde dehydrogenase, ALDH1, in the liver, resulting in slower metabolism of alcohol and prone to symptoms of discomfort after drinking. Psychological: the personality of alcoholics is prone to emotional depression, low frustration tolerance, anxiety or dependence, etc. Environment: the job is unstable, the life is stressful, the children often need to drink for social activities, or the children are underage in a family with alcohol addiction. They are more likely to develop alcohol addiction as adults than children from families without alcohol addiction. Characteristics of alcohol addiction: development of alcohol tolerance: the need for more alcohol to achieve the same effects of previous drinking is an indicator of alcohol dependence. However, in the later stages of alcohol addiction, due to the deterioration of liver function, alcohol addicts' tolerance will decrease. Instead, they may develop symptoms of alcohol poisoning as long as they drink alcohol. Alcohol withdrawal syndrome: after long-term heavy drinking, the body will have extremely uncomfortable reactions when stopping drinking, including night sweats, hand shaking, insomnia, vomiting, emotional instability, temporary hallucinations, and in severe cases, epilepsy or death. Dangers of alcohol addiction: irreversible brain lesions, including memory loss, personality changes, and accelerated brain function degradation. Affects cognitive functions, judgment, memory, learning ability, etc. are reduced, affecting life, work or study. Hepatobiliary and gastrointestinal related diseases: alcoholic hepatitis, cirrhosis, fatty liver, peptic ulcer, pancreatitis, etc. Sleep disorders: waking up early, restless sleep, waking up in the middle of the night, sleep disorder, etc. Increased risk of mental illness, depression, bipolar disorder, or suicide risk. Alcohol addiction treatment: alcohol addiction is by no means a single cause. It occurs every day or two. Its treatment also requires long-term cooperation from multiple aspects: drugs, psychology, etc., to achieve the goal of reducing or stopping drinking. Drug treatment: through outpatient or inpatient drug treatment, we can reduce the withdrawal discomfort caused by alcohol withdrawal and reduce the risks to life and health during alcohol withdrawal. There are currently two special drugs for alcohol withdrawal, naltrexone and acamprosate. When used under the supervision of a doctor for at least 6 months, they can effectively reduce the brain's thirst for alcohol and euphoria, and achieve the goal of reducing alcohol consumption. Psychotherapy: through individual, group psychotherapy or family therapy, psychologists or social workers assist patients in enhancing their motivation to quit drinking, clarifying problems, and improving problem-solving abilities. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. This is a global non-governmental mutual aid organization, anonymous and free of charge. Through mutual aid groups and beliefs, it promotes and maintains the motivation of individuals to quit drinking. Rules of abstaining from alcohol. Make a change in your thinking. Be honest with yourself and admit that you need help. Make a decision. Make a decision to stop drinking and start taking action. Explore yourself and accept yourself. Truly explore your inner thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Problem-solving methods. How to face the current problem. Think about it. Where is the analysis problem? What are the solutions? Find help from resources and don't go it alone. Learn the secret recipe to eliminate sorrow. Understand the sorrow in your heart. In addition to drinking, you can also think about what you can do to relieve the sorrow. Tips for refusing to drink. Know how to say no bravely when someone invites you to drink. When you make a mistake, don't blame yourself. Adjust your mood and don't let yourself drink again. 16th. Yaka people. Source: ChatGPT. The Yagas are an ethnic minority living in southern Mindanao, Philippines. They are one of the indigenous peoples of the region and have a unique culture, language, and traditions. The culture of the Yaga people includes many traditional customs and folk activities, including dance, music, handicraft making and distinctive costumes. They usually make a living from agriculture and fishing, growing rice, corn, coconuts, and fruits, and relying on fishing for their livelihoods. The social organization structure of the Yaga people is relatively loose, usually based on family units, but there are also some tribes or communities. They have their own traditional beliefs and religious practices, usually practicing primitive religions and worshipping nature gods and ancestors. Although the Yagas are a smaller ethnic group in the Philippines, their culture and traditions remain important locally. However, like many Aboriginal groups, they face challenges in protecting their cultural heritage, land rights, and economic development. Source: Wikipedia. The Yaganese, Spanish, Yaganese, also known as the Yagans and Yamana people, are Native Americans distributed in southern Chile and Argentina. They are also one of the southernmost ethnic groups living in the world. Their traditional territory extends from southern Tierra del Fuego south to Cape Horn. They have been around for over 10,000 years. They were traditionally hunter-gatherers, with the men hunting sea lions from canoes among the islands and the women gathering shellfish. Although the place where they lived was very cold, they wore little or no clothing before contact with Europeans. This is because their metabolism is much higher than that of ordinary people, allowing them to generate more internal body heat and survive long periods of time around fires. At the edge of the pile, cover yourself with animal fat and remain in a squatting still position for a long time to reduce the loss of body temperature. According to the 2017 Chilean census, there are 1,600 Yaga people living in Chile. On the Beagle's first around-the-world voyage, Captain Robert Fitzroy took 4 Yaga people to England, and 1 year later he brought the surviving 3 people back to Tierra del Fuego on her second around-the-world voyage. Charles Darwin mentioned them in his writings. Most Yaga people now speak Spanish. As of 2022, Cristina Calderon, living in Chile, is the last pure-blood Yaga and the last native Yaga speaker. On February 16, 2022, Cristina Calderon passed away in Punta Arenas, Chile due to complications caused by COVID-19 infection. But the Yamana language has been preserved through dictionaries, recordings, and writings. 17th. Telomeres. Source: ChatGPT. Telomeres are structures found at the ends of chromosomes. They function to protect chromosomes from degradation and damage, similar to chromosome protective caps. The telomere structure consists of a series of repeated DNA sequences and their associated proteins. As cells divide, the telomeres at the ends of chromosomes gradually shorten each time DNA is copied. This is due to the special nature of DNA replication that prevents a small portion of the end from being copied. This shortening of telomeres is associated with cellular aging and the senescence process. When telomeres shorten to a certain extent, cells enter a dangerous state and can no longer divide and replicate efficiently. This is thought to be a factor in cellular aging and senescence. In addition, telomere length is also associated with many aging-related diseases such as cancer, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Scientists are still studying telomeres and their relationship to aging and disease. Understanding the function of telomeres and how they affect the cell life cycle may help develop more treatments for aging and related diseases in the future. Source: Wikipedia. Telomeres, English, telomeres, are DNA repeating sequences at the ends of eukaryotic chromosomes. Their role is to maintain the integrity of chromosomes and control the cell division cycle. Due to the mechanism of DNA replication, each time a chromosome is replicated, the chromosome ends on the delayed strand must not be replicated. Thus, eukaryotes evolved telomeres at the ends of chromosomes as segments that can be discarded repeatedly. Once telomeres are exhausted, cells will immediately initiate apoptosis. Therefore, telomeres are speculated to have a significant relationship with cellular aging. Some cells in the human body, such as spermatogonia, cancer cells, etc., contain telomerase, which can attach new telomere segments to the ends of DNA. The telomeres will not shorten as the number of divisions increases. Therefore it can be copied infinitely. Telomeres are small DNA protein complexes that exist at the ends of linear chromosomes in eukaryotic cells. Together with telomere binding proteins, they form a special cap structure that can maintain the integrity of chromosomes and control the cell division cycle. Telomere DNA is composed of simple highly repetitive sequences of DNA with G-rich strands along the 5-3 direction at the ends of chromosomes. In yeast and humans, the telomere sequences are C1-3A/TG1-3 and TAG/UCTI respectively, and many proteins bind to telomeric DNA. The main functions of telomere DNA are: first, to protect chromosomes from being degraded by nucleases; second, to prevent chromosomes from merging with each other; third, to provide substrates for telomerase to solve the end condensation of DNA replication and ensure complete replication of chromosomes. Telomeres, centromeres, and origins of replication are the three major elements that keep chromosomes intact and stable. At the same time, telomeres are special sites of gene regulation and can often inhibit the transcriptional activity of genes located near telomeres, called telomere position effect, TPE. In most eukaryotes, telomere elongation is catalyzed by telomerase, and recombination mechanisms also mediate telomere elongation. 18th. Hangover cure. Source: ChatGPT. A hangover cure is a method designed to reduce or eliminate the symptoms of a hangover. While there's no one way to completely eliminate a hangover, here are some methods that may help reduce discomfort and speed up the recovery process. Hydrate. Hangovers are often accompanied by dehydration, so drinking water can help replenish the fluids your body has lost. Drinking lemon water or drinks containing electrolytes can also help restore your body's water balance. Nutritional supplements. Eating easily digestible foods such as bread, biscuits, fruits, or vegetables can help provide energy and restore strength. Also, taking in nutrients like vitamins B and C may help relieve hangovers. Rest and sleep. Adequate rest and sleep help the body recover and reduce symptoms such as fatigue and headaches. Avoid further alcohol consumption. Avoiding alcohol consumption can help prevent hangover symptoms from getting worse and give your body time to recover. Use pain relievers. Over-the-counter pain relievers, such as acetaminophen, may help reduce headaches and discomfort. Consume ginger or mint. Some people believe that ginger or mint can help relieve nausea and indigestion caused by a hangover. Gentle exercise. Gentle exercise, such as gentle walking or yoga, can increase blood circulation and aid recovery. Keep in mind that these methods may help some people, but they may not work for everyone. The best way to avoid a hangover is to avoid drinking too much alcohol. If your hangover is severe or long-lasting, or is accompanied by severe symptoms, it is best to seek medical advice. Source: Chow Health. Recommended for hangover relief. Nutritionist. 5 great anti-hangover tools to solve hangover, dizziness, and headaches. Why does a hangover cause extreme discomfort? Nutritionist. 3 phenomena are related to the appearance of the body. When gathering with family and friends during holidays, it is inevitable to have a drink and enjoy yourself. However, the behavior of drinking wine as water may cause strong symptoms of discomfort. Dietitian Gao Minmin said in the community that hangover refers to various physical and psychological discomforts that occur after drinking, such as headache, vomiting, thirst, etc. As for the causes of hangovers, nutritionist Gao Minmin summarizes the following 3 points. 1. Dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. When drinking, the body excretes about 3 to 4 times more water than what is taken into the body, which can easily lead to dehydration, thirst, and electrolyte loss. In addition, sodium ions will also affect the water content of the blood, causing nausea and vomiting. Lack of water in the body will also increase the osmotic pressure of the brain. When there is too little water in the brain, it will stimulate the hypothalamus and cause thirst. Feel. 2. Excessive accumulation of acetaldehyde. After drinking alcoholic beverages, the alcohol, ethanol, in them will be converted into acetaldehyde. As more and more alcohol is consumed, acetaldehyde accumulates in the body for a longer period of time, and the body has no time to metabolize acetaldehyde, which is also one of the main causes of hangovers. 3. Lower blood sugar. When the liver metabolizes alcohol, it is unable to store or supply the sugar the body needs, leading to an increased chance of hypoglycemia. What should you do if you want to avoid a hangover? What foods can help with hangover? Nutritionist Gao Minmin explains that the following 5 nutrients are indeed helpful in relieving hangovers. Taking them in moderation can help relieve vomiting, headaches and other discomforts caused by drinking. 1. Water. Water can be said to be the best hangover solution and can help speed up alcohol metabolism. In addition, water can metabolize acetaldehyde out of the body, relieve hangover symptoms, and also help flush the gastroesophagus. 2. Vitamin B complex. B complex can maintain the body's metabolic function, improve the efficiency of the liver in metabolizing alcohol, reduce the burden on the liver, and has a certain degree of refreshing effect. 3. Mineral zinc. Increasing the activity of dehydrogenase in the human body can help relieve hangover, protect the liver, and reduce liver damage caused by alcohol. It is recommended to supplement foods such as nuts, eggs, and whole grains in moderation. 4. Electrolytes. Alcohol can cause diuresis. When the human body is dehydrated, potassium and sodium ions in the body will also be deficient, leading to dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, and nausea. It is recommended to supplement your diet with sports drinks, coconut water, bananas, etc. at this time. 5. Source of antioxidant nutrients. To help liver metabolism and fight inflammation, it is recommended to eat more sweet potatoes, citrus, strawberries, green tea, or consume fresh fruits and vegetables, which can effectively reduce the oxidative damage caused by alcohol. Finally, dietitian Gao Minmin suggested that even if you need to drink for entertainment or parties, people must still limit the amount of alcohol they drink. Men and women should not exceed 2 and 1 alcohol equivalent per day respectively. 1 alcohol equivalent is equivalent to 375 cc beer. If you always drink fragments, you may increase the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, so any alcoholic beverages should be limited to a limited amount. Conclusion. What a wonderful life! Stay away from alcohol and embrace life.